Good morning. Welcome to the April 23rd Blue Earth County Board meeting. Good morning, everyone. And those that are able, we please could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2 on our agenda is the agenda review. Mr. Bob Meyer, please.
Well, Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
I move the agenda. Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to the agenda. Any discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The agenda is approved as printed. Item number 3 on our agenda is public comment. The public comment portion of the board meeting allows an opportunity for citizens of Blue Earth County to address the county board in a public meeting. At this time, I'd like to welcome Ms. Bob Maher and Ms. Barb Lamson to the podium for their request to provide public comment to the commissioners. Please note this meeting is being recorded. There's a 5-minute time limit. I've asked County Administrator to give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've used the allotted time. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. The board will not take action today, but will direct county staff to respond appropriately to issues raised. Now please, if you would again, state your name and your addresses for the record. Welcome, ladies.
I'm Barb Maher, 217 Viola Street.
I'm Barbara Lamson, with a cold, I'm afraid, 128 Rita Road.
Thank you. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Good morning.
Well,
Morning.
Barbara and I were talking, and we just realized that we have 42 and 40 years of being master gardeners.
Yes.
And we were just saying, neither of us are really very good at tech types of things, and how much over the years we have appreciated the fact that we have the clerical help here, and that we have the University of Minnesota educators here that have given us support. And the reason they gave us the support is because you have always supported them and given them the money that they need to run their office. So we decided that we should come and thank you and let you know that we really appreciated it. We have enjoyed those years so much. And right now, with Kelly Helke and Shane Bogea, they both are just excellent people to help us with everything. So we really, really are thankful. And Barb's going to tell you a little bit about some of the things we've done.
Well, we only have 5 minutes, but we've been on call. We have done things like we've been in the classroom. We've taught the summer programs for the schools in the summertime. I have enjoyed that tremendously. It seems like when you get children out and you start teaching them about gardening, all of a sudden you have their attention. They want to learn. And when you have them start with a journal, record what you see, hopefully they will carry that on into their life. And when they become homeowners, they too will have a broad range of experience, what they've experienced while they've been in school. So that's been absolutely great for me, just a great experience. And I think the community could do more, the schools could do more, using the Master Gardeners to teach educational programs in the summertime that are outside, whether we would visit gardens or we'd go to parks, but to go around and evaluate and look at what's being offered in your community. It makes such a difference now that we have the boulevards and we plant on the boulevards and we have the mediums and we have things growing there. It just makes the trip when you're on the highway so much more pleasant, and science shows us that when you are enjoying what you're driving and that you're better drivers. So I would encourage you, whenever you can green up a space, by all means do it, and we're here to help you.
And one of the ways that people kind of know both of our names, because they're Barb and Barb, is because we've always thought that the way to get the most people is use the media. So we've used radio, TV, and newspaper. The problem is, we're not very good at using now Facebook and that type of thing. So then we get help from some of the younger people that are coming in, and they also said, I told at the meeting last Monday, I said, can we, the two of us also represent all the rest of you? Because we've got lots of nice, enthusiastic people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s coming in who are tech people and keep saying, we've got to reach people that way. So we're speaking for them too.
So, in our 40-plus years of gardening as master gardeners, we have talked to a lot of people, and education starts with awareness. We've invited a lot of people to our homes. We've done a lot of classes. Everything we do is free. We don't charge for anything. Here a few weeks ago, we had a huge program, and the whole region sent people, and it's not unusual to have 70, 80, 90 people. It's free. How often do you get a class where the people that are instructing it are from the University of Minnesota? They're bringing you handouts, they're bringing you the latest information, and you've got a time to just sit and ask questions. I mean, what good does it do to have all these knowledgeable people in St. Paul if they're not here answering our people's questions? So we continue to do that every single year.
And one of the things I've found is whenever you come in and talk about gardening, you should bring something alive. So I went up to Glenwood Gardens, which is this public one that we have maintained, and I am also trying to get the information about garlic mustard out, because my love is, maybe we can pass these around. Get one for you too. My love is the early blooming native plants. All right, here's what I found blooming in Glenwood Garden. We had Virginia bluebells, and we had violets, because they're the early blooming things. And right behind them was garlic mustard, which is an invasive weed. And look at the size of this. So this is the bouquet today to remember.
You bring us weeds.
That if we want to have the things that are our native plants, we've got to get rid of this. So we're authorizing all of you to be spokesmen for us. And I'll leave this here so some of you can look more closely and find out if it's in your garden. Yeah. Look at this. This is a plant that's already got blossoms on it. It's going to set seed by May. It's a biennial, so the first year it's seeds, and it's a little tiny plant that's very inconspicuous. The second year it looks like this. Wow. And the seeds are good for 6 years. So if they don't germinate in year 1, they germinate later. So take a good look at them. And they were also brought from Europe because they have a mustard flavor, and you can use them in cooking. Oh. So if you pull them, you could also eat them. Just don't let them go to seed. Thank you.
Just a quick word about prevention. We're all about prevention rather than using chemicals. There are cases when you need to use chemicals, but for heaven's sakes, remember the pollinators. And if you don't need to, if you can just get out there and scout, as we like to say, and hand weed, you'll keep the weeds out of your lawn, you'll keep them out of your gardens. So try that, give that a try, prevention.
Well, thank you both ladies for that information.
Thank you very much.
Item number 4 is the Economic Development Authority meeting. So at this point, I will recess the Woolworth County Board meeting and call to order the Economic Development Authority meeting. And item number 2 is agenda review. Mr. Meyer, please.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
I'll move the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The agenda is approved as printed. Item number 3 are the minutes of the March 5th, 2024 What is your pleasure with those minutes?
I'll move the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second of the minutes, discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The minutes of March 5th, 2024 are approved. Item number 4, tab 2, is a public housing wait list closure. Nancy, would you please join us? Identify yourself for the record and whenever you're ready.
Morning, Nancy.
Morning, Nancy.
Good morning.
I'm Nancy Bokelman with the City of Mankato and Bloor County EDAs. And today we are bringing before you a request to close our public housing waiting list temporarily on April 30th. This will allow us to conduct a review of interested applicants and then transition to using a one-link online application for both public housing and the Housing Choice Voucher Program. We believe the one list will improve our services to applicants, reduce the likelihood of them applying for the wrong program, and ensuring that they're aware of both of our programs. In addition to that, we're also in that process, as you're aware, of converting our public housing to a Housing Choice Voucher. And so part of our units are already through that process with HUD, and we should be hearing any day when we can start transitioning half of our units, and then the other half should be transitioned by the end of the year. So this will allow us to prepare for that process. When we do this review of applicants, it really is a maintenance of the waiting list, and we do this routinely without having to close the waiting list. So we see as many people coming on every year as going off of the waiting list, but the intent really was to do it on a faster pace and get through them. We made sure that when we looked at this and considered the closing, that we have an adequate supply of applicants on the list that will be served throughout our year already. So we would not be affecting who we'd be serving this year. And once we get that transition to the other list, people will still continue to get to apply. I just wanted you to know that there's about 2,100 names on the list right now. Traditionally, we've been seeing about 300 new applicants and about 300 going off. But in the last couple of years, it's gone up to 600. So we're seeing a greater need. And just for our public housing, just for you to realize, the turnover that we have every year is about 26 on an average. So seeing that many, you see there is a real need for affordable housing in our communities. But this is just a temporary thing. We anticipate we'll be opening the list again in the fall. But it could be sooner than that. It just depends on our software system and how they can set up that process to convert our waiting list. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd recommend that you authorize us to close that waiting list.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation.
Move to approve.
There's
Second.
been a motion and a second, discussion. Any questions?
No questions.
Pretty straightforward.
That's a lot of people to deal with.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's carried. The public housing waiting list will be closed on April 30th, 2024. That concludes items on our agenda. Motion to adjourn.
So
So,
moved.
second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The next item on item number 5, tab number 2 on our agenda is the planning and zoning. Planning and zoning staff are here to present their action items. This will be a public hearing. Public comment will be allowed in just a moment. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note this meeting is being recorded. There's a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've used the allotted time. In addition, the board may restrict or limit the time allotted to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under consideration by the board. So I'm going to ask planning and zoning staff to introduce themselves for the record and introduce the item before the board. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am George Leary, Senior Land Use Planner for Blue Earth County Planning and Zoning. PC's 35-23 is a request from Scott and Kay Ashley for review and approval of a conditional use permit to allow construction of a house addition in the flood fringe area of floodplain without placement of fill. The property is zoned rural town site and consists of lots 1 through 4 of Block 17, Garden City Town Site. The property address is 515 Washington Street, Garden City, Minnesota. At the Planning Commission, staff presented the report. The applicants were present and available to answer any questions from the Planning Commission. There was no comment from the public. Members of the Planning Commission had no questions, concerns, or comments. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward a recommendation of approval to the County Board based on the findings and conditions recommended by staff. The board action is passage of the resolution based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, George. At this time, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. If you'd like to make a comment regarding PC 35-23, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone wishing to speak to PC 35-23? I'll ask a second time, is there anyone wishing to speak on PC 35-23? And I'll ask for a third and final time, anyone wishing to comment on PC 35-23? Seeing no one approach, we will close the public comment portion and return it to discussion by the board and ask if there's any clarifying questions or comments from board members.
Nope.
At that time, I'll entertain a motion.
I would move the resolution based on the recommendation by staff.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried, the resolution is approved.
Thank you.
This concludes planning and
Thanks,
zoning
George.
hearing.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you, George.
Thanks, George.
Item number 6, tab number 3, is the ARPA spending allocation for public broadband expansion. Josh, I see you're coming up. Please identify yourself for the record and go ahead.
Hi, Josh Milo, Deputy County Administrator. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, first off, apologize. I saw the disappointment in your face when it was not Carrie Harvey coming up to the desk today. I'm just going to cover this piece for Ms. Harvey today. Today we're here to talk about some ARP spending allocation for broadband. We had allocated some ARP dollars for broadband expansion over these last couple of years. And in this round of the grant application, we have 2 internet service providers that asked for some county match for this project. One from Charter Communications and one from MediaCom. Based on where we're at in our ARP dollars, we have a little less allocation than we've had the last couple times. But really talking to the ISPs, they said it's really more about having any match, which would help them on the scoring part for the border-to-border application. So with that, we have a $20.37 per passing for these, for a total allocation of a little over $43,000 for both Charter and MediaCom combined. So today what I'd ask is the Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners to approve the resolution allocating these border-to-border dollars to the Minnesota D grant round for both Charter and MediaCom.
Okay, you've heard the staff recommendation. What is your wishes?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Have any questions?
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion carried. The resolution approving ARPA funds pending ISP's project being approved by Minnesota Deed for grant round 10 is approved. Anything else?
Thanks,
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Item number 7, tab number 4, is County Ditch 78. Morning, Ryan.
Morning, Ryan.
Please identify yourself for the record.
Ryan Henniker, Blue Earth County Drainage Management, part of the Property Environmental Resources Department. I just have a quick memo for County Ditch 78. Blue Earth County Ditch 78 watershed is approximately 9,200 acres in size and is primarily located in Garden City and Burden Center townships. A petition to outlet additional acres into CD 78 was received on February 27th of 2024. Our drainage attorney, Cale R. Van Bruggen of Rinke Noonan, reviewed this petition and found it to be adequate for these proceedings. At today's meeting of the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we are requesting the approval of an order to appoint Chuck J. Brando of ISG to review the documents provided in the petition and prepare an opinion letter in accordance with 103E. We are also requesting the order include the appointment of viewer Mark Behrens to make recommendations for an outlet fee and the additional benefits for those acres for County Ditch 78 under accordance with 103E.401.
Okay, we've heard the staff recommendation. What is your wishes?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Discussion?
Nope.
Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good day.
Item number 8 on the agenda, tab number 5, Human Services, Mr. Phil Clausen. Will you join us, please? Morning, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Phil.
Morning, Phil.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thanks for hearing me today. Phil Clausen from Blue Earth County Human Services. I have 2 action items today and 2 informational discussion items as well. First action item is from financial assistance. The board at a recent work session and some of our staff talked about the lay of the land with regard to transportation in our community. This specific item involves AMV, which is one of our remaining providers that we depend on greatly. Clients attend medical and dental appointments and pick up prescriptions through their transportation services. These clients are what we call non-PMAP clients receiving medical assistance. Rates are mandated by the state, so we will follow that, and the AMV will abide by those rates. In addition, we're asking to add an administrative fee of $2.50 per one-way transport to pay for associated costs which are not covered by MA. The structure is that these fees would not exceed $26,000 for the remaining term of this contract, and we would date the term from January 1st of 24 through December 31st of 24. The second action item, Mr. Chair, is Vine Faith in Action. This is our leased space at the Vine building for our second step clubhouse. It is a 5-year contract, which we have done in the past, in order for us to provide programming at this existing location. Second Step Clubhouse provides psychosocial rehabilitation services to adults with serious and persistent mental illness, and it integrates these members into our community, which is very important to all of us. The lease renewal includes a 2% increase per year of the contract. The term May 1st of 24 through April 30th of 29. And those are my action items for today.
Okay. Is the board okay with doing those together?
I would move to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Well, we had a long talk about AMV and stuff just last week and so it was pretty much discussed what the needs are. So I think that's a good point. We can't afford to lose them. So I think that's a good point.
And Mr. Chair, we got the open house for the
Club, for the clubhouse, yeah, for the club, yeah.
Coming up shortly here, so.
Yeah, I was gonna announce that,
sorry
if
to
I,
steal
no,
your
but
thunder.
I was just gonna say that we will send out a invite. Did you guys happen to get one already?
got one.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. I was just worried about that because I got mine and I didn't see you on there, so you know the date and all that. So, yeah, May 16th. Thank you.
Good program, thank you.
All right, other discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. Both of those are approved. Information items, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My information items, first one is billing unit. We started the billing unit in 2015 to try to stay up with some of the complexities that come with some of the revenues that we can pursue. We have 1 partial supervisor, 1 coordinator, and 2 senior account clerks in the billing unit. It serves 15 different program areas in human services. And then our specific revenue that is outlined here is targeted case management, and you'll see the listing of the 3 different types of case management that we get paid for: child welfare, vulnerable adult, and mental health. And then you'll see the units listed as well as far as how we are able to access that revenue. The table shows our performance in 2023 and the total of over $3.5 million in revenues with 1% accuracy. So we're very proud of our performance in this regard. There's an average of 636 claims each month, and we are, at this time, we're at 98% of all claims that were initially paid were processed. There's 40 different insurance companies that we work with, and they all have different rules, because that's the way we do that, I guess. Denial is less than 2% the first round, and then we go back and appeal denials and resubmit. And in 2023, we had almost $48,000 receipted just for the mental health center alone. And you'll see the claim per week chart, over almost 16,000 in mental health center claims, and 2,500 of those were therapy, 13,000 were medication management from psychiatric staff. So that is that first data set.
Mr. Chair, Phil, just a clarifying question. So you're telling me that of the 2% that were denied, you reclaimed some of that, and it was 740?
No, so the total was 700.
Okay.
But that we do chase. And of course, there's a diminishing return when you start chasing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a time limit, and then you're kind of out of luck. But a lot of times it is on the insurance company side, and they still often won't hear our appeal. Sure. So there's times where it's a hard no, but we always ask, is the point there, yes.
Thank you.
Moving on, Mr. Chair, to the child support data, also from 23, we have 12 staff, 1 supervisor, 5 officers, support officers, and 6 support enforcement specialists. The first chart is about paternity establishment, and you'll see we're right around 100,000. I think the narrative claims it's 5 years, but it looks like we're just slightly below 100,000, 100% establishment. And the skew, just for the math, is that it's a little bit like a cash flow issue through fiscal years, is that you might have a certain number of folks that need to establish paternity in the prior year, kick over the next year, and there's less people. So some of those from the previous year come in, and that's how you get over 100%, is there was more paternity establishment than what was in that given year because of that skew. The benchmark from the state is 80%, so we're doing quite well in that area. Support order establishment, similar result where we're doing above the target of 80%, well above, and for establishments, and 90% for the past 5 years or better. The third box, collections for child support. This area was more difficult for us and throughout the state to collect. We had 73% of the funds that were due, which we collected, which is very consistent with the state average. If I could have you look to the very bottom of the page, it says collection of current support had an unprecedented decline, and so the state is actively trying to make some changes for 24. So we're going to try to improve our performance in that regard across the board. And the final box is collection of arrears, so dated accounts that haven't been paid, and we had 67.33% of the arrears past due accounts were collected, which is actually quite good, because again, it's much like the insurance companies, is once people aren't paying, it's hard to get them to pay, but we were able to do that. The final note, the header talks about 5 different areas that we measure. This 5th measure is below the boxes on program cost effectiveness, which we report out every year. For every dollar expended in child support, we collect in this case, $4.24, which is $1.56 higher than the state average. So we're doing well in that regard as well. And that's what I had for the board today.
Okay, appreciate those reports as well.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. If you got time, could you hang around till after? I'd like to talk to you a little.
Sure, maybe I'll stop back, Commissioner, to maybe,
Otherwise, I can stop over there too.
that's, I'll find you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Phil. Item number 9 is administration. Mr. Bob Meyer, please.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for April 9th.
Okay.
So moved.
We got a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The April 9th, 2024 minutes are approved.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on the bills. Any clarifying questions? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The bills for April 4th, April 17th are approved.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 8 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. Just have informational items for the board today, starting with a change of employment status for a correctional officer in our jail from full-time to part-time. Then we had, unfortunately, a run of resignations in our jail. Just about the time we start to think we're getting close to getting fully staffed, we have this happen. We had 3 resignations, and so we have initiated recruitment to fill 4 correctional officers in the jail. We also had a promotion of a correctional officer to a sergeant in the jail. Then we had a change of employment status for a temporary part-time staff in the Sheriff's Department, filled a newly budgeted part-time position as a clerical specialist. We also filled a part-time librarian in the youth services area of the library. Then we had a resignation of a technical support specialist in our information technology department, so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. We also had a resignation of a program coordinator in our public health area and human services, so we've initiated recruitment to refill that position. And then we filled a couple of other positions, a social worker in our behavioral health area, a case manager intake position there, and then we also filled an assistant county attorney 1 position in the county attorney's office. So that's the list of activity in our human resources, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have on any of those items.
Thank you.
Moving on then to tab 9 in your packet, these are the first quarter donations for January through March of this year. You'll see again the majority of the activity and cash donations were in the library, although we did have a couple of donations for the veterans van, and so those are all listed on that first page, totaling $4,244.36. The second page then itemizes in-kind products and events that are provided to the library and the value associated with those. Goes on to the third page, and then the last category are volunteer time given to the library, and those are detailed on the next 2 pages. So asking the boards for board acceptance of these donations.
I move approval of acceptance.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion. We're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carried. The first quarter donations are accepted. Item number 10 on the agenda is Commissioners' reports on committees. Kip, can we start with you, and then we'll go to Vance and around the hole.
You sir can, Mr. Chair. I have a very light schedule for the last couple of weeks. After the last board meeting, Mark and I went up to the MICA meeting. They're starting to do those in person again. It's always good to see all those folks. They're all working diligently at the Capitol, trying to get things passed through, so they were very busy. Then we had our mayors and clerks meeting. We heard from Eric Weller, our emergency manager here in Blue Earth County. Had a good presentation on the sirens and some of the changes they're making on that. And then we had our work session. I had a very busy work session. We've seen a couple things today that we discussed at the work session. And then just a few issues that I'm dealing with on some land use issues and some road and ditch issues. That's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Vance, please.
All right, after our last board meeting, I had a Transportation Alliance Ledge Committee on the 10th. On 11 again, Skip already mentioned the mayors and clerks meeting in Madison Lake. On the 15th, I had a NACO Arts and Culture Commission Zoom meeting. We had our work session on the 16th. On the 18th, there was a NACO RAC Zoom meeting. And on the 19th, as I was driving on my way up to the AMC board meeting, I did a NACO credentials meeting on Zoom, because I'm on the credentials department for that. And that'd be, of course, I spent the rest of my time at the AMC board meeting. And that'd be my report.
Thank you. Patty, please.
Okay, on April 10th, I had Region 9, as was stated, mayors and clerks on the 11th. The 15th, the AMC legislative call, and on the 18th, I had TDS. And that's my report.
Thank you. Art, please.
Okay, yep, Wednesday, as Kip mentioned, we had our MICA in person. That was always good. Get an update at the time of the legislature session. And then April 11th, yep, mayor and clerks here at Madison Lake. And then Tuesday, April 16th, we had the county board work session. That really concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. From my report, on the 11th, I too attended the mayors and clerks. On the 15th, we had our Blue Earth River One Watershed, One Plan, our 5th meeting with that, the policy committee meeting, which we also met with the steering committee. It was a joint meeting for that. 16th was the work session, as mentioned. 18th, I participated in the NACO RAC call, and then on the 19th, I had a CD 79 landowner meeting. And that concludes my report. And that concludes today's agenda. We will recess.
So
This
moved.
meeting. We have a motion to recess. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we are recessed. Thank you, everyone.